My visit to mysterious Pulau Tikus. Pulau Tikus is Penang's own mystery island. You know, the kind of place that conjures the same type of excitement in the pages of Annie Blyton's famous Five or Tintin's Black Island. A place that inspires imageries from childhood. To reach it, you have to take a sampan, or if you have the necessary manpower, you go by kayak as I did. I estimated that Pulau Tikus is perhaps 500 meters or at most 1 kilometer from shore. When I checked the map later, I learned that it is actually 2 kilometers from shore, so the return journey meant I rode for 4 kilometers. No wonder it feels so far. There it is, an island silhouetted against the morning sky. Although I have landed in Pulau Tikus once before last year, I have not fully explored the island. Somehow, my heart was throbbing wildly when I landed there, and I left the island without snooping around. It must have been because I came upon the huge, fresh carcass of a python dangling among the branch on the shore of the island, and I couldn't be sure if it was dead or alive. Well, I decided it was not wise to find out, especially when I was alone. Yet the island continued to call on me to come back. So, after a year passed, I decided it was time to do my exploration. It was 9 May 2004. I started at 9:40 a.m. The morning sky was hazy, and I thought I would have a lovely day kayaking in the still waters. No such luck. Within 15 minutes, the sun banished the clouds away, and it got decidedly hot. In my kayak, I packed towel, sunglasses, baseball cap, even a pair of Nike shoes. And of course, drinking water. It would be suicidal to go without water. And to ensure that I come back with some photographs to show, this time I remember to bring along my camera and tripod. Yes, sir, I brought a tripod so I can take shots of myself to prove I was there. Even though the sea was calm, I could feel the current pushing me away from the island. I had to kayak at a certain angle to keep my kayak pointing towards it. If I stop to take photographs or to rest, the kayak will sway off course, usually in the direction of Penang Island. It was like Pulau Tikus did not welcome me at all. The view of Penang Hill from the sea was dazzling. There were low-lying clouds over the hills. I could stop for long without kayaking. The up and down bobbling of the waves made me rather dizzy. It took me 40 minutes to reach within 20 meters of Pulau Tikus at a leisurely pace. I am glad I brought along a towel to wipe the sweat as the sun was fierce. However, it offered a deep blue sky above me. Rather than kayaking straight towards the island, I decided to circumnavigate it so that I can explore it from all sides. I wasn't in a big hurry to land, and I have a reason why. I remember last year as I approached this island, I have this creepy feeling. Well, it was still there. It feels like there's an unseen force on the island and it's me against the force. If you had done enough exploration, sooner or later you will arrive at a place that gives you goosebumps of the supernatural kind. Superstitious people would have warned me against visiting such a place because it would be, how do I put it, inhabited, if you know what I mean. How do I face something like this? My way of overcoming the fear is to remind me that the spirit within me is greater than the spirit that dwells the earth, and that as long as I have God beside me, I have nothing to fear. Okay, now back to the island. I discovered that the sea on the northeast side of the island was full of rubbish. Most likely all the rubbish was carried there by the current and was trapped within the area. However, that's the direction with the best view of the island. So I tried to avoid shooting rubbish when I photographed the island. Circling it, I looked for the sandy stretch to land, rowed my kayak forcefully towards it. And there I am on Pulau Tikus. And you know what? The island was like holding its breath. I pointed my camera to the water tower. According to a fellow historian, Dr. John Robertson is not a water tower, but rather a solar-powered lighthouse. Click the shutter, and you would never expect this. My camera jammed. What was wrong, I wondered. This never happened to my camera before. I took out the CF card, put it back in. Still not working. I replaced the battery. Still no luck. It was like there's a sinister force trying to prevent me from taking any photographs of the island. As I repaired the camera, I spoke to the only friend available at short notice, the one above. I told him that I believe he is greater than all that is around me. I don't want to surprise you, but my camera started working again after that. But there's not much to see on the sandy stretch, just some rocks. The view of Penang Island was great. I peered at the tower, or should I say lighthouse, though I still say it's a water tower, on the main part of the island. How do I go there? There were big rocks blocking the way. Well, the only way to reach it was to go out to sea once more and find another landing. As I pushed the kayak back into the water, it went out of my grasp and to my horror launched itself into the sea. I rushed after it before it abandoned me, and that's how I got my shoes wet. Oh shoot. So into the water I went again. After exploring for a bit, I saw a cove where I could land. The waves were big and mighty on this side as it crashed to the rocks. Suddenly it brought my kayak straight to the rocks and we rammed hard onto them. I negotiated my little fiberglass boat away from the rocks. If I were to hit it a few more times, it may just break into little pieces and I would be marooned on Pulau Tikus. Being very near shore anyway, I jumped out and heaved the kayak to land. My shoes were already wet anyway, so it didn't bother me to get out into the water. I made sure the kayak was pulled way up high so that it couldn't decide to leave without me once more. Okay, now to explore. The place was very run down. There was some sort of a porch or house on the highest part of the island. It has a veranda with balustrades. I see some new bricks. Is someone rebuilding this structure or what? One of the structures was covered with graffiti, some dating back to the 70s, and yet they appear as clear as written yesterday. I surveyed the graffiti and it gives me the feeling of the movie Blair Witch Project. There was a staircase, stone staircase leading up to the lighthouse. I saw that there's a shrine beside the tower, and I predicted that there's a shrine or perhaps a grave somewhere. Well, I was right. There was a grave to one Sheikh Muhammad Quddus al-Awliullah. I do not know who he is and why he was buried on this island. Apparently, the shrine was renovated as recently as 1997 by one Dr. Jamil Muhammad. I need to research who that was. I am glad my camera was now working well so I could record it. It took me about as long to get back from Pulau Tikus. The journey back was uneventful. I felt like the island was well pleased to get rid of me. It was a silent, forlorn place. I do not think I would want to visit it again, but I felt a sense of accomplishment for having explored it. So that concludes my video reading of this passage. Thank you for listening. This is Tim signing off. Bye.